Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Crunch Time with Kruck. This is our 5th episode. As always, joined at the table, Mad Max. Max, how you doing today?
Kruck, I'm doing great. How are you, my man?
It's the best time of year for us Catholics. Easter, spring break, and as always, March Madness. So without more further ado, let's get right into it. March Madness, always a great time of year for basketball. And before we get started, we got a couple matchups that we want to look at. My first matchup I want to talk about is the 6 seed USC versus the 3 seed Kansas. These teams will meet in the second round, which is the as called second round, will be played March 22nd. Looking at them, USC scores 2 more points than Kansas does. They also rebound 2 more rebounds, but Kansas averages 1 more steal and block per game. Kansas has a poor shooting percentage, but I do think Kansas is going to pull it out. Not because they're the higher seed, but because I really like their chances moving forward in the bracket. Max.
That's very interesting, Kruck, because both of the teams you mentioned were teams that right now are having COVID problems related with Kansas. And my upset pick actually is going to be Virginia, another team that right now, Ohio Bobcats, representing Ohio, man, back down in Athens, Ohio. They will probably upset Virginia this coming Saturday, Kruck, tomorrow. That's going to be a great game to watch. I'm telling you, this kid, Jason Preston, right now, he's averaging right now, if you look at his stats, 16.6 points per game. He's a great player. A lot of people are comparing him that he's going to be a great little point guard in the NBA. And this team also, a senior leader, Ben Vanderplas, another great kid as well, averages 12.8 points per game. And he also averages 5.7 rebounds. So good averages for him as he's a senior that leads that team. And it's very cool, too, as I also have a great friend that's actually close to home as well on the Ohio Bobcats team. His name's Ben Roderick. I want to salute him. Do well, man. He averages 12.4 points a game. That's awesome. And he's a great kid of mine. A rival school, Liberty High School. Used to go down to Olentangy. So that'll be a great. Hopefully they can go far. I got them all the way going, Kruck, looking at right now at the Sweet 16. I'm picking them to right now beat Virginia and then also beating Creighton in the round of 32. That's another big game to watch as well. And another team also I'm looking at as upset. Watch the Winthrop Eagles out of the Big South beating Villanova. I really like Winthrop, how they're a Chance Valdron. He's a great athletic man. He's big, he's tall, averages about 12.8 points a game, and makes a lot of plays for this team. Villanova, they lost their star player, Colin Gillespie. That is a big P for their offense. And I think Winthrop, they're going to get it done, Kruck. So March Madness, man, you never know what's going to happen in this tournament, my man.
And speaking of upsets, I got 2 more upsets on my personal bracket. Number 3 seed Texas is going to lose to number 14 seed Abilene Christian. Now, that is a big split, but Abilene Christian scores 3 more points per game, rebounds 3 more rebounds per game, and when you combine their steals and blocks per game, they average 4 more. Shooting from the field, they have a higher field percentage, 3-point percentage, as well as free throw percentage. Another hot take that I have is number 6 seed Texas Tech losing to number 11 seed Utah in the opening round. They score the same amount of points. Utah out-rebounds them by 6 rebounds, and when you combine steals and blocks, Utah has 2 over them. Texas Tech shoots pretty well from beyond the arc, but Utah State's free throw and normal field goal percentage outweighs them both heavily when compared head-to-head with Texas Tech.
Kruck, I got to disagree with you with Texas, man. I listen to me. I think right now Texas is a talented team. You know what I mean? Right now they just came off winning the Big 12 championship. They got great guards and Matt Coleman and everyone else in the tournament. To me, I think they're Final Four caliber. You know what I mean? Because they have a run going and they got things going on. It's going to help them in the long run to help this way. And Texas Tech, got to look at Chris Beard. Chris Beard is always a tough-minded head coach. He's a tough-minded head coach. He plays defense a lot, and he really helps his team out. Utah State, yeah, they competed in the Mountain West, but I still think Texas Tech could be a Sweet 16 team that will help them out as well. And I mean, right now, Kruck, though, we have a lot of upsets, but we got to now talk about the main teams or Final Four. So you want to share your Final Four real quick?
Well, before I do that, I'm going to share one of our most loyal listeners' Final Four, Sean Sumi, the athletic director at Avila University. He has given us his bracket, and his Final Four are as following. Out of the West Division, Gonzaga. Out of the East, Texas. Out of the South, Texas Tech. And then in the Midwest, Illinois. In the finals, he has Gonzaga beating Illinois. And then when you take a look at my seed, my bracket, I have Gonzaga, Michigan, Baylor, and Illinois. I have Illinois beating Gonzaga in the final. That is a very, very strong opinion because Gonzaga has been the best team so far throughout the year. But I think that they're going to get pushed and they're going to break.
Yeah, I got kind of a couple of similar teams, Kruck, in the Final Four right now. I have right now Gonzaga, but like I just said before, I believe Texas, the Longhorns, are going to be in the Final Four. They have something going for them, and they have, like I said, Matt Coleman going well, and that whole team going well as well. I got Baylor beating Ohio State, so that's going to be another close game to watch. I mean, with Jared Butler, Massimo Teague, all those players, that's going to be a big game for this way, but you never know. March Madness, Ohio State, they can always compete. But sometimes I feel like Ohio State can choke a little bit in burden time of games. That's what I'm afraid about with Ohio State. So we'll see if they do well and get to the Elite Eight. And then finally, I got Illinois. And right now, in my championship game, I got Gonzaga and Illinois. It looks like a lot of people are picking that right now for the finals. Gonzaga, Illinois, a lot of one seeds staying with this way. And I just believe with Ayo DeSumo, you look at this Illinois team, he averages 20.7 points per game. And a lot of people think he's going to be a star, Kruck, like a star in the NBA. Also, this big man, I think could be like a football player, Kruck. You see that man, he is huge. Kofi Cockburn, I mean, he averages 17.6 points per game. He's big. He did a lot against my Buckeyes, Kruck. It makes me a little mad still. But no, he did a great job, Kofi Cockburn. So I believe Illinois will win it all. They have the talent. Like you said, though, Gonzaga, they got great players too. But, I mean, those two teams, to me, are probably the most two complete college basketball teams right now in the tournament. So, but again, we'll never know. It's March Madness, right?
Well, if you remember from the last episode, I predicted that Wisconsin was going to win it all. I am going back on my word. Being a man from Illinois, I'm choosing Illinois to beat Gonzaga in the final. Although Gonzaga outscores Illinois by an average of 11 points, they get 2 more steals and blocks per game. And Gonzaga from the field shoots 55%, almost 40% beyond the three-point line, and then a 75% clip from the free throw line. 37 was beyond the three-point line. But Gonzaga is undefeated going into it. If they make the finals, they're still going to be undefeated. The last time an undefeated team won March Madness was 1976.
Wow.
It's a long time ago, and there's been a lot of teams going undefeated into the finals, but not since 76 have they won it. And another thing we're going to touch on real quick with March Madness, there have been several complaints from the women's March Madness bracket that their weight room is not the same and or equivalent to what they need. When I did my research into it, I saw a picture of the men's workout facility in the hotel that they're staying at, and it is a very nice, very generously spaced out, several racks, platforms to lift at. The entire women's weight room consists of a tree of dumbbells that are less than 15 in total. You know, the men's bracket will bring in more revenue than the women's bracket. That's a given. But NCAA, you got to do better. Come on now.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed, Kruck. You know what I mean? That needs to be fixed because, you know, they should have, I believe, the same amount of treatment as much as they can. I know it's the men's, like you said, men's and women's are different, but you still got to have same treatment for. I mean, just having a set of dumbbells, like, come on. Like, you can have, like, a couple of, like, bench press racks or something, like squat racks or something that's around there to help it out. So, like I said, that's just unacceptable. That needs to be fixed, and that needs to be treated well in the whole tournament itself. So, Kruck, though, we are going to move over, though, to our good old friend, Justyn Brown. He'll be a new little insider for us that looks around this way. He now is going to talk about some of the important games and what he believes is going to win the tournament for March Madness.
Thanks, Max. And as mentioned, I am Justyn Brown, Crunch Time with Kruck's basketball analyst. And today I'm going to be talking about my March Madness bracket. I'm going to start with a first-round upset. I have number 5 Villanova being knocked off by number 12 Winthrop. The reason for that is because I believe Villanova is really banged up. They've had problems with COVID. Winthrop, they're 11 deep. While Villanova's banged up, they're not going to have as deep rotation. Their star guard, Colin Gillespie, is out with a torn ACL. 3 days later after that, their other guard, Justin Moore, sprained his ankle. So he's going to be banged up for this game against Winthrop. Winthrop, they just coming off their Big South Conference championship. They won all 4 of their conference championship games by a total of 77 points. That's 29, 21, and 27 points. So they've been dominating their competition out there. Villanova, they better come with it because they have not been practicing, as I said. Villanova, they're 3-3 in their last 6 games. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with that. So moving on, I'm going to move all the way down to my championship. I have Gonzaga versus Illinois. I think Illinois has the best duo in college basketball with my man Ayo and Kofi Cockburn. This man Kofi Cockburn is 7 feet, 285-pound Hercules from Jamaica. This man is the man in the middle, controlling the paint, offense and defense, both sides of the ball. Ayo, I don't want to say his last name to mess it up, but this man's averaging 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, and he sets the offense up with 5 assists per game. And with all that, he can shoot from deep, spacing it out, shooting 39% from 3. So this is an elite shooter. On the other side, we got Gonzaga. They are undefeated. Everybody knows that. They have 4 AP All-Americans. No other team has that. Their star player, Corey Kispert, 6'7", 220. He's a pure shooter. This man shoots 44% from three-point range. Steph Curry shoots 43% for his career. That's just for reference. Okay, so this man's a sniper. Sophomore forward, Drew Timme, 18 points per game, 7 rebounds, 65% from the field. This man can play in the post. He's one to look out for. Another one, let's not forget about Jalen Suggs. This guy is a baller, 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, gets 2 steals, so he'll be there on the defensive end. Both these teams have lots of firepower. This is going to be exciting to watch, and in the end, I'm going to have to take Gonzaga with this one because Illinois. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to take Illinois. It's just something with the undefeated teams that I feel in college basketball they just don't win. Look back at 2015 with Kentucky when they were loaded with Cat, Devin Booker, Jamal Murray. That team, I think Wisconsin took them out. Even 2019 with Duke, they weren't undefeated, but they were, the powerhouse. Everybody thought they would win. They got took out by UCF, I believe. So I don't believe Gonzaga's going to do it. I really like Illinois with this one. And with all that said, thank you. I'm Justyn Brown. I'm out.
Thank you, my man, Justyn Brown. We'll see if your picks are good this year. We'll check it out. But you never know. March Madness always happens, so we'll see what happens. Kruck, what do you got for now?
And moving forward, the NFL free agency has hit a boom as a lot of players and a lot of teams have been taking their chances this year in free agency. What's the hottest take so far?
Kruck, when you look at the NFL free agency, it's almost like March Madness or no. It's crazy right now. It's coming in a lot of people. One team that's been making the most moves is the New England Patriots. Right now they have at least 8 players that they signed. Like Bill Belichick, he wasn't messing around, right, Kruck? He is going to get players because he knew, I believe in his heart, he knew that when Tom Brady left, he needed to help himself out with Cam Newton and get more weapons. That's what I always felt like with New England, and they got it. They got Jonnu Smith from the Tennessee Titans on a 4-year, $72 million deal. And they also got Hunter Henry from the LA Chargers, Kruck, on a 3-year, $37.5 million deal. So those are 2 outstanding weapons for them. And New England, they're tight ends. When they had Rob Gronkowski, this way the tight ends were important pieces for their offense. But how about this? Fitz magic to the Washington football team. That is very interesting to me because obviously now Alex Smith not with the program there anymore, and then Taylor Heineke there. Some people believe him. Chase Young thought, oh my gosh, he was great in this way. But when I look at this way, I believe Fitzmagic can probably be the easy starter there, right? I mean, you look at it, he's been around the block a long time. He's been with teams all over, and I think now he could be the starter. And who knows? They could beat the Cowboys. They could beat those teams in the NFC East. Well, we'll see about that with the Cowboys. But, it's going to be interesting. Those 2 teams right now look like the top 2 in the division. So, Kruck, there was a lot of interesting news about the Bears, too, though. You want to get into that with your Bears? What's going on there in Chicago?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Andy Dalton signed a contract with the Bears to be the new starting quarterback. And for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy trying to save their jobs in Chicago, as a Bears fan, this is not the move right now because as much as I hated Mitchell Trubisky, he's a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. And we honestly traded in bad for worse as Mitchell Trubisky is now with the Bills. He's going to back up Josh Allen. The Bills are looking to make a very deep playoff run this year because they were one game away from the Super Bowl last year, and they're looking to make, if not win, the Super Bowl this year. Kyle Long and Joe Thuney to the Chiefs. Kyle Long coming out of retirement, he was with the Bears. Joe Thuney, who I mentioned, who should probably have been franchise tagged by the Patriots, a great offensive lineman. And so now they're both with the Patriots trying to fill in the spots that Mahomes is looking to get. As you watch the Super Bowl, you could see the man was scrambling for his life. Long and Thuney just trying to help out after the two linemen were cut, Fisher and Swartz. Fitzpatrick, as mentioned. And then another person who I really like is A.J. Green to the Cardinals. He's just another great receiver with the Cardinals. But the thing that you have to look for is injuries. Him and J.J. Watt are two of the most injury-prone players that I know of in the NFL, and they're both on the same team now.
Yeah, that's a great point with A.J. Green. You know, he was very injury-prone with Cincinnati, right? He was. He had a lot of injuries of this way, and his career just didn't plan out as much with the Bengals that we all expected. So, you know, with Arizona down there with DeAndre Hopkins and now Kyler Murray, now getting J.J. Watt, the Cardinals, they're a team to watch right now in the NFC West. So that's a big, important piece for them. Going back to with the Raiders, I want to talk about the Raiders here real quick because, remember, they did lose Nelson Aguilar as also part of New England at another deal, and now they got back from the Bills John Brown, another big piece for this way. And a lot of people don't talk about John Brown with the Bills. I believe he is like an underrated wide receiver in the NFL. You know, he makes a lot of plays. He helps himself out with this way. And I think that's what John Gruden was looking for with the Raiders, was trying to get another piece for them because they got to compete with the Chiefs, right? They got to compete with the Chiefs, the Chargers, and like you said with the Chiefs, that was important to get those two offensive linemen because that's what they needed heading in past into the next season, the 2021-2022 season, NFL. So that was important for them. But one person that's still out on the market, McCruck, Kenny Golladay from this way. Kenny Golladay, right now, the two teams that are interested in him were actually the Bengals and the Giants. Right now, he is talking with the Giants at East Rutherford. Right now, if you look at his total yards receiving right now, he has 3,086 yards total receiving in his career right now. That is a lot. Because remember this, he had to help himself out with Megatron with this way. You know, a lot of people wanted to know who was that next receiver in Detroit that was going to help him out. And really, Kenny Golladay was the next guy. But obviously, Detroit, they're making a lot of new moves, right? They're getting Jared Goff in the Matt Stafford-Jared Goff trade. Jared Goff's there. And now Kenny Golladay, they don't know, with him being an unrestricted free agent, where he will go. So that's one I'm looking at, too, in the upcoming future, where he will go. But I'm telling you, Kruck, this whole NFL free agency is just – it's crazy this year, especially with the cap moving down, the cap space in this way moving down to $182.5 million. That's a big decrease in the amount of money there. So obviously teams are scrambling to get players at a certain point in the game in this way. So you never know, man. We got a long week left of free agency, don't we?
Yeah, and then just two more places I'd like to talk about. Patrick Peterson to the Minnesota Vikings. He left the Cardinals. The Cardinals made room for Green. And now the Vikings secondary on defense is just amazing. They have one of the best defenses or secondaries for defenses in the league, in my opinion. And another team, the Jaguars, picking up Malcolm Brown, Marvin Jones, and Shaquille Griffin. Urban Meyer coming in as the head coach, presumably going to draft Trevor Lawrence. Nothing's for certain yet. But he's picking up names to put alongside of him, as well as the people they already have. The Jags may come out the gate this year and make a deep run.
Yeah, Jacksonville, Urban Meyer, always the first coach. You never know what the result's going to be with that way. Kruck, though, we are going to transition now over to Drew Brees and his retirement over this past weekend. He was announced his retirement on Sunday of March 14th. After playing 20 seasons in the NFL, he decided it was just time for him to retire in this way. It was kind of a cute little announcement that he had. He let his children of Balin, Bowen, Kalen, and Rylan said on Instagram that our dad was finally going to retire. I think that's really cool to do it this way. Not the usual fun thing, very adorable and very cute to figure out this way. And I thought that was awesome, and I hope Drew Brees will have a great career. He's looking at NBC Sports right now as NBC to try to do like a little broadcasting cool career there at NBC. So, Kruck, I just want to ask, what kind of legacy do you believe Drew Brees left in the NFL and all that?
Well, his immediate legacy is very, very apparent as he was a 13-time Pro Bowler, one-time All-Pro. He was a one-time Super Bowl champion in 2010, beating Peyton Manning's Indianapolis Colts. He, in 2004, was the Comeback Player of the Year. After 2004, he ended up going to the Saints, where he finished out the rest of 15 years of his career. The NFL records that he holds right now are career passing yards at 80,358.
Wow.
He has career completions at 7,142. And seasons with over 30 touchdowns, he has 10 of them. Games with more than 5 touchdowns, he has 11. Games with more than 4, he has 37. And then most passing touchdowns in a single game, he has 7. That record is tied with Nick Foles, Peyton Manning, and 4 other players. So immediately, he has a lot of things that he's going to be remembered by. Unfortunately for him, the career passing yards and the career completions will probably not last long as Tom Brady is right on his heels. Throughout the last 2 seasons, Tom Brady and Drew Brees have been neck and neck for both of those awards. Drew Brees etched it out. He retired. He gets to keep the awards as long as he can. But Brady signing that extra contract with the Bucs, he's probably going to take a couple of those records away.
Yeah, I mean, with all the stats you mentioned on the field, I look at Drew Brees with this off-the-field work he did as well for the city of New Orleans. You know what I mean? The city, he was at the time when Hurricane Katrina was back in 2005, and that was a big event for him as he wanted to help out the city get back from that tragedy. And that really is a caring moment, too. You know, I always look at people when they do what they do on and off the field with certain events, and I think what Drew Brees is a very kind and great individual. You know what I mean? He presents himself in a good way on and off the field, and that's great. And I think that deserves and needs to be honored in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I believe he should go there, and, you know, with his stats and his pedigree, he deserves it. Because what he brought to that city, what he brought to this week, because New Orleans, they weren't as known. The first time, he actually also led to the Super Bowl as well back in 2006, back in this way, when he led to New Orleans' first only Super Bowl appearance too. So that's very incredible too for him, and I wish him luck at his next level of his life. I hope he has a great career. He does well with NBC Sports, and he takes care of his family. That's what I hope he has for his rest of his career.
I mean, absolutely right. But who can forget when Sean Payton walked up to Carrie Underwood after the national anthem and told her that she did a great job? Not to throw shade on either one of the people, but it's generally not something you see at the national anthem. But Sean Payton was moved so much by Carrie Underwood's rendition of the Star Spangled Banner that he felt it was necessary to go and talk to her and tell her that she did a great job. And then also coming right out of halftime, he kicked an onside kick, which very few people would have thought of. But as we move forward, we have another football team that we'd like to talk about, and that is our very own Avila Eagles. Max, what do we got on them?
What a resilient win, Kruck, that we had this past week. You know what I mean? That game, it felt like football was back. You know what I mean? Football was back. We had a great time. The offense, they struggled at the beginning. We noticed that. The offense, John didn't look like himself at the beginning of the game. But overall, the offense had 439 total yards of offense. That is still really impressive, even though we struggled in the first half. We still had 238 rushing yards in total, and 157 of those were from Malik Nesbitt. He had on 23 carries. So that was great for him and how he got the offense going, too, because that O-line, they had to protect him, man. That's what leads the rush and leads everything to go this way. And John Jacobs, too, he threw for 191 yards with 1 interception, but he also ran for 19 carries, 93 yards. That's what Jacobs does. We've seen that the entire season. He likes to he's a dual kind of threat quarter. He likes to run, pass, and do a lot of things to help the team out this way. But if I got to give hats off to Coach Charles Alexander and the defense of Avila University. Even though the offense struggled, we got ourselves going on the defensive end that helped ourselves with the offense throughout the game. And right now, look at junior linebacker Nick Furlow. Even though he had an injury, obviously we've heard updates. I've heard it's just a leg, I believe, extension. So hopefully he'll be back for the next game against Ottawa. We'll have to see. But in that game, he still had 1.5 sacks and 3.5 tackles for loss. That is still really impressive for the junior linebacker. And also some clutch plays from freshman Jose Batista. What a game he had. That big interception he had. And DeAnthony Williams also made a big pick towards the end of the game off our backup quarterback, Joseph Perez for Southwestern. Remember, the backup quarterback threw the 2 picks, not Brian Cagle. He also got injured throughout the game as well. So overall, Kruck, it was a great, resilient game. You know what I mean? It was a great game to watch. It was a great game to view. Me watching on the sideline, I could tell you that was a fun game to watch and overall see. So what are your thoughts about the game, my man?
I mean, I deeply enjoyed the game. I play offense. Max obviously plays defense. That's why I gave props to the defense. I'm going to give props to number 2, Malik Nesbitt. He ended up being KCAC Offensive Player of the Week with, as mentioned, 157 rushing yards, 203 all-purpose yards, and he averaged just under 7 yards a carry. But one of the biggest storylines going into the game wasn't what happened on the field, but it's what happened before the field. Twitter was buzzing. Ottawa and Avila both had their players' thumbs very active, texting back and forth on Twitter, seeing how competitive this game was going to be. And the game did not fall. It was a pretty good game all the way through it. A lot of competition. A minor fight broke out, but hey, it's football. It's competitive. Moving forward, Avila University will play Ottawa. Ottawa so far this year has 15 rushing touchdowns, 14 passing touchdowns. Their defense has intercepted 10 times, has caught 10 interceptions, recovered 5 fumbles, and blocked 5 kicks. They're 40% on offense on 3rd down and 4th down situations. So Avila will have their hands full. What do you got on them?
Kruck, so leading up to the Ottawa game, it's going to be, we got to play the same mentality and same game plan we played against Southwestern. You know what I mean? And we look at it, one of the people, their head coach on the team, is actually part of that NAIA committee that ranks the players and stuff like this way. So it's very important that we go out there and we take care of business, right? We got to show everyone what we are about at Avila football and show that we are Kansas City's football team. You know, we got to show that off to this way. And it's going to be important for us to get the running game going again with Nesbitt. That's going to be important as well. John Jacobs, he's got to be able to run and pass. He's got to start, I think, quicker. He's got to start more accurate at the beginning of the game if he wants to keep it a complete performance. I believe the defense, they got to come out ready to go again. You know what I mean? They got to come out, keep bringing the pressure, keep bringing hopefully Batista and DeAnthony Williams and all those other players can keep stepping up, making plays for our team, and hopefully we can get out there with a dub. So we're going to move on quickly to a serious topic here. We're going to talk about Deshaun Watson, and right now there's allegations against him on investigation of sexual assault and sexual misconduct treatments on multiple women that he had back this way. This came about when 3 massage therapists filed lawsuits against the quarterback, accusing him of an assault during the 2022 calendar year. Watson reached out to people on social media and said the wrongdoing that he tried to say, I never tried to treat any woman with any of these wrongdoings, stating the utmost respect. He wanted to say that there was nothing wrong in the situation. Hearing all this, Kruck, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I do not like to speculate about things that I have no control or no knowledge of. So when I did my research, the original civil lawsuit was against Deshaun Watson. This lawsuit stated that he sexually assaulted a massage therapist in December of 2020. The 4th lawsuit this week has come forward as of this morning, and the prosecutor's lawyer is Tony Busby, and he says up to 9 women have brought cases to the QB. We do not know all 9 yet. We have no 4. We're not going to use their names due to just keeping them out of it as much as possible. The lawyer is Tony Busby, as mentioned. He is great friends with the Houston owners for the Texans, both previous and current owners. He ran for mayor, but unfortunately lost. And not that I like to speculate a whole lot about things this serious, but with Deshaun wanting out, the Houston Texans not wanting him to leave, but at the same time not really helping his reputation. This lawyer may not be helping out Deshaun Watson's case.
Yeah, and this is obviously news we obviously don't want to hear of. You know what I mean? This is obviously news we don't want to hear of, ever want to see of in this way. And I always come from a background of whether, again, we don't know if these allegations are totally true or false, but still, when you have any allegations of that kind, I always believe it's just unacceptable and just distasteful to see. And that's just, I always have the belief of you want to treat any woman that is around you with the lot of type of respect and the dignity they deserve.
And here on our show, Crunch Time with Kruck, we're going to release an official statement right now. We at Crunch Time with Kruck do not support the actions of sexual harassment. We do not have an official opinion on whether or not Watson has committed the crimes brought against him, but we do support the justice system, and we hope the truth is revealed and released. And that's going to be it for the show today. Sorry we had to end on kind of a serious topic, but make sure you fill out your brackets. Don't fill them out after the tournament. That's a shady move. Nobody likes that kind of guy. Mad Max, Jacob Kruckenberg. We'll see you next time